Hello everyone. Myself Dr. Veena is Associate Professor, Department of ISC, Dayanand Sagar Academy of Technology and Management, Bangalore. Welcome to the lecture session on Object-Oriented Programming with Java with the subject code BCS306A, which is under VTU 2022 scheme for third semester. I'll be explaining you the lab program 3 from this particular subject. The problem statement says is there is a class called employee which models an employee with ID, name and salary. The method raise salary with the parameter percent increases the salary by the given percentage. Develop the employee class and suitable main method for demonstration. So here what you have to do is you have to build a Java program. That particular program should have a class called as employee. And we all know that whenever we create any class, that class will contain some members with it. So what are the members of employee? It is given in the problem statement is it has employee ID, employee name, and employee salary. And other than these instance variables, it also has one method called as raise salary. So what this particular problem statement talks about is you have to create an employee class with the instance variables as employee ID, name, and salary. And you have to create one method called as raise salary. And you have to pass a percent how much salary should be raised to the particular employee. And after raising the salary, you should display that particular salary onto the screen. So first, before we start writing the program, we'll just see what is the logic or what the statements you should be able to write it as the program itself. So suppose I say the problem statement talks about that you have to create a class. So simple. What you have to do, you have to create a class with the what name? Employee. So as there is an employee as a class name, what are the members of class is been given in the statement is ID, name, and salary. So I will just pictorially represent this particular statement and then we'll start writing the program for the same. So if you say there is one particular member called as employee ID, we have one more member called as name, we have one more member called as salary. These three are the instance variables of the given employee class. And along with that, you have to also deal with a special method called as raise salary. So raise salary will accept the parameter called as percent, and based on the percent value you pass, it is going to raise the salary of the particular employee. So as this is given in this particular problem statement, do we have to add any other methods to this particular statement? Yes, I can say that, or I tell you or suggest that you should be able to add one more method to this particular class to display the contents of the employee. So we have already set the employee ID. We have to set the employee name and salary. We have to raise the salary. And I want this particular program, when I execute, it should be able to display the original details of employee with the original salary. And after the raising salary, it should be able to display the employee details with the raised salary as well. So I have just shown here in this particular employee class, different members are there. So what are the various members you can talk about here is one of the member I can just say is ID. So ID is one of the member which talks about that it should be the ID or employee ID. We have one more member called as name. So name is one more member of this particular class, employee class. What is one more member is given to us is salary. So I say salary is one more member of this particular class. Along with that, the method is also being given. What is the name of the method? Is raise salary with a parameter, and that parameter is nothing but percent. So I will just list it out like this. This is one more method. And one more method I have listed here, or I have shown it as a member of employee, is to display the contents or to display the details of the particular employee. So I can just say we can go for one more particular method called as display employee details. And if I say display employee details, this particular method should be able to display the contents of that particular employee. So virtually we have shown it in this particular diagram saying that there is a method, there is a class called as employee. It has three various instance variables like ID, name, and salary. And it has two different methods. One is to raise the salary and one is to display the employee details. So you can see here, I am writing a program in the IDE that is IntelliJ. IntelliJ Community Edition is already available in the Google site. You can download it for free and you can use this particular IDE to execute the programs also. Otherwise, you can also use the IDEs like Eclipse and all those things. So I'm just using the IntelliJ IDE to execute the Java programs here. So what I will do is I'll just create a new project with some particular project. I say suppose project 1. I'll just create the project here. So by default, the code is there. I can also delete this. I'll just delete this Java program as well. And this is what now only the empty project has been created. Now I can create n number of Java files over here or n number of classes here, and all those files I can store it in this particular project. So how to create number of classes or number of files in this particular project is you have to just click on source folder, right click on source, go to new, and you have to just click on Java class. I want to create a Java class here. With what name you want to create a Java class? Suppose I want to create a Java class with the name main. So this is what the structure, it has been already shown. So as we know that as the name of a class, I have given it as main, the file name has also been turned as main.java. Because we know that whenever we create any particular main class, the name of the class and name of the file in Java should be always same. So here what we have to do is, just now we have just looked into the class diagram where we have to create an employee class which should have some members of it, and those particular members should be demonstrated in the main method. So what I will do is, I'll try to create a class here itself. So I've just shown you in the class diagram also, we have to create a class with what name? Employee. So how to create a class is using the keyword called as employee, called as class. So there is a keyword called as class, and I am trying to create a class with the name employee. I'll just start creating the class. So you can say that these curly brackets after the class employee has been written is the body of the class, which should contain the members of the particular class. Now, what are the members we have? Instance variables and the methods. So what are the instance variables we have? Employee ID, name, and salary. So what can be, how we can declare the variables in this particular class? So I can say, suppose employee ID is nothing but of type integer. I can just say, this is what ID, employee ID. We have the name of the employee. So what type of name it is? It's a string value. What is the name of a variable? Is nothing but name. And you also have the salary as one of the member which should belong to the employee class. So salary is basically not of type integer. We will go for double. Suppose I say salary is one more member over here. So here we have defined three different members here. One is ID of type integer, name is of type string, and salary is of type double. So if we want these particular members not to be accessed outside the class, we can always say that these particular members are of type private. So if I declare these variables as private, you can say that the members cannot be accessed outside the class. So I'm just making it as private so that the outside class will not be able to access this. I'll just say these are all the private members. And after the members have been declared or defined over here, we have methods also to be shown. So what are the different methods we wanted to show it here is, one is with the raise salary and one is with display the employee details. So when I say I want to raise the salary, what is the name of a method that has been shown is raise salary. And this raise salary is a method which is accepting one single parameter that is called as percent. So percent, what type you want to keep it, that completely depends. Whether it should be only of type integer or you can make use of floating type of percent also. So suppose I say I want to give the percentage in terms of float. So I can just pass the parameter as float. And I'm just writing here the parameter as percent. And then I will start it. So before we go ahead with the definition of this particular method, can I decide what type of the data it is returning? So depends how you are using this particular method. Whether you are using this method outside the class for displaying only the salary, or you want salary to be increased for any employee being invoked with the object, and that particular salary to be stored in the particular variable and so on. So right now, suppose I say it is not returning any particular value. That means it's returning a void type. So I have just defined the signature of this method as void raise salary with single parameter of type float. And what this particular raise salary should do, whatever percent I'm passing it, that particular percentage should be increased into the given salary. So can I just write here, salary should be incremented with what? The percent, whatever the percent you are passing it. That means salary should be incremented with the old salary with the percent. So salary plus equal to, what is it? Is percent into salary by 100, semicolon. So we have just done that. Whatever the percent we have given, you have to find out the percent of that. And that particular percentage will be added with the salary, and that will become a new salary, which you can also write it as salary is equal to salary plus whatever the value you have given. That is percent into salary by 100. So salary has been updated here. So raise salary is going to only update the salary as per as I have written the statement in the given method. We also have to write one more method to display the details of the employees. So how can I display the details of the employee? I can just say the name of a method is suppose display employee details, which is not written, which is not taking any parameters with it. And what this display employee detail should be able to do is it should be able to display all the members of the given particular object of the class. That is ID, name, as well as salary. So how you can do that? How we can display system dot out dot println. Suppose I just say that employee ID colon. And I want to display the ID of that. What is the member we have? Here we have is ID. ID is the member we have written. Same thing, I can use it, the same statement to be displayed for name and salary. So how you can display the name and salary here? Employee name is nothing but the member name. Then we want to also display employee salary, which is stored in the variable salary. Okay, so display employee details is a method which is going to display all the details of the given employee. So this is basically a class which is able to take the members all together, and those members definitions have also been written. Now, to access the members of this particular class, we should be able to create the object of the same. So where will you create the object of that? Is in the main class. So you have created one more class as main, where you will be able to give the public static void main method. I'll just write here. So you can say here, public static void main method you have written, and here we will demonstrate the given class for raising the salary and displaying the details of the employee. So how do you do that? So for doing that, you have to create the object of employee. So how do you create an object of employee? Name of the class is employee. Suppose I say EMP is nothing but an object which I want to create it for an employee class. How do you create the object? Is using which operator? New operator, and which is the class is employee. So you have created one object of the class employee. So now, what are the values you want to set it for the employee is also the question. So instead of setting the values here using a EMP as an object, can we have a constructor here itself which can create an object with the members of that particular class? So what, I'll just go back to class. I will create one constructor called as employee, and this employee constructor should be able to take the values either from the main method, or you can read the values here itself. So suppose I say I am passing the values here only. One is ID, one is string, one is double. Suppose these values I am saving it here. So whatever the values I am passing through the constructor of employee, those values should automatically get saved into the instance variables. So I have to store the value of ID into the instance variable, that is ID. But you can see here, there is a namespace collision over here. We have the instance variable ID as well as we have the local parameter ID. So we can always resolve this particular namespace collision using this keyword. So I can just say that this dot ID is equal to ID. So what do you mean by this is, the parameter, whatever you have passed in the constructor, that parameter will be copied into the instance variable of the given class. Same way, I'll be able to put the values like this. All the members I'm just keeping to here. Salary is equal to salary. So whatever the values I'm passing it into the constructor of an employee, those values will become the members of that particular object. So I'll go back to the main function now. And before I create an object with multiple arguments or 3 arguments to be passed into the constructor, I can read the values also from the given method. Or I will just demonstrate it with a default or some particular constant values and we'll see how it works. I'll just say, suppose name of the employee is 1. I'll just give, suppose name of the particular is employee. I'll just say, suppose Herbert. And one more parameter is salary. Suppose I give the salary as 10,000, something like this. Okay, so I have passed how many values? 3 values into the constructor. So for EMP being an object, it will have the ID as 1. Name of the EMP object is Herbert and name of salary of the employee is 10,000. So I want to display all these details onto the screen, the default details or original details before raising the salary. So I already have stored the statements into display employee details. So I can call that method using EMP as an object. So before that, suppose I say system.out.println. I just want to give the statement that employee details before increment. I'll just write like this. Before increment, I want to display. So what is the name of object? EMP is the name of object. And I'll just call a method called as display employee details. So this display employee details for the object EMP is going to display ID, name, and salary. And after that, suppose I want to raise the salary. So we have already created a method called as raise salary by passing the %. So you can call that raise salary method for the object EMP. So I'll just write EMP dot raise salary. And what is the percent? Suppose I say 10%, I want to add it. That means I want to increase the salary by 10%. And this particular salary has got incremented for which object? Employee object. Now can we see the details of the employees after increment? So I'll just copy these 2 lines. I'll paste it here. And I'll just say employee details after increment. So after increment, will you be able to see the employee details after increasing the salary, where the ID and name will remain the same, only the salary is going to be changed. So as far as problem statement is concerned, we feel that, okay, this particular program is completed. So we can execute this program and check whether the program executes successfully or not. I'll just go to here, run and run. It's building the program. You can see here, the program does not have any error. In fact, it has displayed the output. So what is the output? You can see here in the main method, when you start, you have created an employee object with the details as 1 ID, Herbert as name, and salary is 10,000. And after that, we have written a statement as system.out.print employee details before increment. So you can see in the output screen that employee details before increment message has come. And after that, you have called a method called display employee details, which is going to display employee metals. That is this particular method. And this particular method is going to display these 3 values. So you can see here, employee ID 1 has come, Employee name Herbert has come, and employee salary 10,000.0 has come because the salary is of type double. And after that, displaying all the details, the control will come back to display employee details after, and it is going to call or invoke a method called as raise salary. So raise salary will not display anything because we have not specified any system.out.print statements within the raise salary. And after that, again, you have displayed a message called as uh, employee details after increment. So you can see here, employee details after increment has displayed onto the screen. And again, we have called a display employee details method for the given object. So you can see here, again, these three values have printed. So if you just see here, before increment, the employee salary was 10,000. Now after increment, it has been incremented to 11,000. Why it has got incremented, or why the salary has been showing now at 11,000 is on 10,000, there is an increment of 10%. So 10% of 10,000 is nothing but 1,000. So 10,000 plus 1,000 is 11,000 is what the increased salary displayed for the employee with the ID 1 and the name as Herbert. So this is how the program can be executed. So here I have shown you the programming statements with the constant values like ID as 1, Herbert and 10,000 values. Instead of that, you can also read the values from the user. I don't want values to be fixed whenever I execute a program, the same values to come. I can always read the values through the keyboard, and that particular values I can pass it as the employee details. I'll just show you here. If you just here, if I just say, I'll just say enter. And before I create an employee object, I want to read, suppose, all these three values and I want to pass it. I can always do that. So how to read the values through keyboard? We know that we have to create an object of scanner class. And for scanner class, you should be able to import the package. I'll show you how to do that. You will create an object of scanner class. And the parameter here is system.n, which is going to have the keyboard as a control. And I want some message to come. Enter employee ID, name, and salary, something like this. And I will read all these three values. So first is of type integer. So I'll just say, suppose ID is equal to ST. SC is the object for scanner. Next, int. Okay. The next variable is string. I'll just say string. The variable is suppose name is equal to SC dot next. So next is a method which is used to read a string type of value. Then the third one is what? Double. I'll just say double. Salary. You can write the full salary as a variable name or some other variable also. You can use it. Scanner object dot next double. So here you can see that everything that is next in, next line, next double, scanner, everything is in a red color. That means what? The scanner particular class is not known to this particular package. So what you have to do is you have to import the package. Either you can go here and you can just press Alt and Enter. You will see here, you'll be able to import the class. So the moment you have imported this particular class from java.util package, you will see the first line has been updated in the program called as import java.util.scanner. And all these methods which were displayed in red color have turned back to the meaningful methods. This is what, and now whatever the values we have read it through keyboard, I want these values to be passed to the employee object. So instead of passing the default values, I will ask ID, that I will pass. I will ask name, that I will pass. And I will ask salary, that I will pass. Now we will see, we'll just run this program and see what is the output of the given program. I'll just say suppose 10 ABC and salary is suppose 10,000, 20,000, something like this. You can see here. Now, what are the values? What are the details of employees got printed on the screen? Employee ID is 10, name is ABC, and the salary is 20,000. And as percent, I am not asking from the user, 10% is becoming the constant value that has been passed for raising the salary. So 10% of 20,000 is 2,000, so which has been incremented, and you can see here, the salary has got displayed over here. So here we have used the methods called as nextInt to read the integer value, next is to read the string value, and next double is to read the double type of value. So this is how you should be able to execute the program, or this is how you should be able to write the program for lab program number 3. Here, one more thing I'll just show you, like as I'm displaying the salary of a particular employee just as a variable name, can we display the particular salary along with the currency? Suppose I want to display it as rupee or I want to display it as a dollar. So yes, I can definitely do that. So how you can do that is we have to make use of the special class that is called as number format. So here what we will do is for displaying only we need that particular method has to come which should display the salary into the given particular currency. So after displaying the name, here I will just create object for number format. I'll just say suppose number format, and again it is coming in red. That means what you need to import the class. And what is the package for importing this particular class is java.text.number format. So I'll just use some particular currency variable here or some number format. I'll just say suppose this is nothing but NF. You should be able to create an object to which particular country and language this particular object should belong to. So what you will write here is number format dot get currency instance, and that currency instance should belong to the respective locale. And this locale, when we talk about it, based two different parameters. One is called as language and the other is called as the country. So I'll just say, suppose the language is English, and for India, I will just write the country as India. So you can see here, the moment I have written here these values and on local and all, the package has automatically got imported here. That is java.text.number format and java.util.locale. So if I just execute this program, let's see how it gets executed and what will be the output of the program. I'll just click on run. Okay, semicolon missing. I'll just run again. Okay, I'll just write the values like before. Again, salary has not got displayed with the particular currency because you have created a reference for this particular object, but you have never used it. So what you will do is here, this salary should be printed in this particular format. So whichever is the parameter that you have to pass it here. So what is the object for reference? NF, and you will just say you want to format this particular value in this. So you have to do something like this. So I've created a reference that which particular currency it should be able to take, and that currency should be prefixed to which particular value that we have shown it here using this particular statement. Now I will run the program. Okay, employee ID 1, name of the employee, suppose ABC. The salary, suppose I say is 10,000. You can see here what happens. Can you see here? What is the difference? Instead of displaying only 10,000, it is displaying the currency as well. It is showing that rupees because I have used the country as India. And the country for India's salary is basically what? Rupees. So that rupees has got prefixed over here. Suppose you want to change it to dollar and all. Yes, you can do that. Instead of IN, just say it is US. Let it be English only. Make it as US. I will just run it again. Employee ID 1. Name of the employee, suppose ABC. Again, I'll give 10,000. You can see. You can see here. The salary has got displayed with dollars. So this is how you can invoke the various methods from the predefined classes which are stored in the different packages, import those packages, create the objects or have the reference to those particular objects of the class, and you can use it in your program. So this is about lab program number 3. Thank you all. The next video, I'll explain you lab program 4. Thank you.